And there's been an awful lot of children since that time, but so this whole story is about imagination. So you can use your imagination to travel along with Henry and Shirley.
Well, once upon a time, and not so very long ago, there was a little girl and a little boy, and they lived on a lovely Lancaster County farm. And the little girl's name was Shirley, and the little boy's name was Henry. And one day, when they were playing, across from their house there was a lovely meadow that they could play in sometimes. And the mother said they could play in the meadow, and they were playing in the meadow and having a good time. She even packed them a nice lunch, some peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and some other nice things. And they took, each of them had a little bag with their lunch in, and Mother watched them cross the busy highway and into the meadow, and she watched them walk along the stream back to where there was a spring of water and where there was a grove of trees. And there they sat down and enjoyed their lunch together. And then Shirley had a Mickey Mouse watch, and she knew what time she was supposed to come home. So she looked at her watch, and it wasn't 2 o'clock, so they had some time to play. And they decided to play hide and go seek. And Henry was hiding, and Shirley was trying to find him. But she couldn't find him. And she got angry. She stamped her foot down and she cried out, "Henry Hershey, if you don't come right away, I have to go get Mother." And then Henry stepped from the tree he was back of, and he was all excited. "Shirley, come, I want to show you something." Well, Shirley forgot about being angry, and she came to see what Henry wanted to show her. "Look!" "Well, it's just a big old tree," Shirley said. And Henry said, "Yeah, but come around the side of the tree." And there on the side of the tree, there was a nail, a big nail. And hanging on the nail was a little gold key. And it didn't take Shirley long to grab that key and find a place. Henry said it was a hollow tree, and he showed her, and there was a door where it was hollow, and there was a keyhole there, and Shirley took the key and opened the door, and she walked inside, and there was room for Shirley, and there was room for Henry inside that tree. It was a hollow tree, and it looked like a little box that they were in, big enough for both of them. And so they went inside the tree and inside the box. And Henry noticed that there was 2 buttons up above the box. One of the buttons was a green button, and one was a blue button. And Henry pushed the blue button, and right away they started going up the tree. They were inside the tree, and they went up, 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 and out through the top of the tree, and up in the sky. And Henry said, "I wonder where we're going." And Shirley said, "I don't know. Maybe we're going to the moon." And Henry said, "I don't want to go to the moon. I want to go home." And boom, they landed. And they didn't know where they were. It was the strangest looking place they had ever seen. the grass was, well, it wasn't green, it was kind of blue, like the sky. It was blue. And they were walking on a little path, and as they walked along, looking around, it looked like a great mountain in the background. But the mountain was white. It looked like puffy marshmallows on white mountain. And they walked along the path, and they saw a little tiny man. He was a little elf. He told them he was. He said, I'm a little rain elf. And he said in his high, squeaky little voice, Henry and Shirley, you are the first children to have discovered the magic elevator in your grandma's, in your house, in your farm. Sometimes it's grandma's house, but this time it's not. So, you are the first people to have discovered this, and you, and he looked up at him, he was just a tiny little man, and he looked up, but they weren't a whole lot bigger, and he said, you are on a cloud, and we manufacture reindeer. Oh, and if you follow me, the little man told him, he was just about like that, if you follow me, I'll take you to the rain factory. And so Shirley and Henry followed the tiny little man down some tiny little steps. They took it on one step, but the tiny little man had to go down the steps. And they opened the door and walked inside, and there was a lot of tiny little rain elves. And they all had little dishes or bowls, and they were busily mixing up hydrogen and oxygen. They knew the right combination, and it turned into water, and they funneled all this extra water to the bottom of the cloud, and the bottom of the cloud had a huge sprinkling system. And so, let's see what happens next. So
Time to go
I
home.
lost myself.
They wanted to go home.
They wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Where are
Shirley
they?
looked at her Mickey Mouse watch.
Sprinkler, it's sprinkler. They have to go back. They have to go back and open the door, right?
Oh,
They have
There's
to
a
go back
rainbow.
and
They
open
have to make
door
the
and realize that
rainbow.
they
Rainbow.
can't.
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Oh, not yet. We
No,
didn't
no.
get the rainbow part yet.
They get one.
So, they saw how oxygen and hydrogen were mixed to make water, which wasn't in the original story. But they decided, Shirley looked at her Mickey Mouse watch, which wasn't in the original story. But they were late, and Grandma was going to be angry and upset. And they had to go back and find the elevator. And they went back to find the elevator, and look as much as they could not find the key. So they were stuck. They were stuck there. How are they going to get home?
And Shirley had an idea.
Shirley had an idea. Henry, you stay right here. I'll be right back. And Shirley went running back to the rain factory, and she talked to somebody there. And they looked out, and yes, the sun was shining brightly. And yes, Shirley went running back to Henry, and just as she thought, but she was talking to the people down in the rain factory, just as she thought, when she got back to Henry, it was raining, and the sun was shining. And what happens when the sun is shining and it's raining?
Rainbow.
Oh, rainbow! And the most beautiful rainbow they ever saw. And the middle of it came right to where they were standing. And without thinking much, Shirley grabbed Henry's hand, and both of them jumped on the rainbow and had the most glorious ride sliding home. And when they got to the end of the rainbow, sometimes they talk about a pot of gold being at the end of the rainbow. Do you think they found the pot of gold? No, you're right. They found something better. They were in their own backyard, and there was Mother, And just like Dorothy says in The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. I made that story up when I was